Well, welcome back to another episode of the Run Disney Rundown. I'm your host, Lake Sprankle, joined today with my co-host, Steve Creasy.
How you doing, everybody?
And our porta potty connoisseur, Steve Ellis.
Yes. Oh my God, the evolution of this is fantastic. Hello.
How was the bathroom on the boat today? Sorry, I would have jumped in.
The water was great.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to be doing our springtime surprise rundown here. Steve Creasy and I both ran the weekends, and Steve E was supposed to run the weekend, but unfortunately did not make it. So we're going to run through that. But first, we do have a little bit of news we wanted to unpack here. First, I'm going to hand it over to Steve E because we're going to talk about Club Run Disney.
Yeah. Okay. So Club Run Disney, registration for new members opens on May 3rd, and they're back for the 22-23 season. That includes the silver member at $265.43 per membership, gold at $531.93, and platinum, which is costing you an $851.73. I can run through all the benefits for each if that is worthwhile.
Probably
at least the
just
platinum, because that's the one that matters.
Yeah. Okay. So what does platinum get you for $850? You get a member welcome package, which includes a jacket, a Club Run Disney magnet, a membership card, a virtual 10K medal, also a member pin. It gets you tier 1 pricing for year-round for available Run Disney races, which I don't know. I don't know if you guys know the difference between Club Run Disney pricing relative to general registration. I don't know if there's a big difference there between the prices. Exclusive 2022 Club Run Disney Virtual 10K, which you get in October of 2022. Club Run Disney designation on your bibs. Guaranteed opportunity to purchase 2 race registrations in each weekend through early registration. And you also get the Expo experience, which includes Club Run Disney headquarters with convenient packet pickup and early access to the Run Disney merchandise shop, as well as upgraded corral placement. I would venture to guess, and I'd love to hear your guys' input, and what other people think about with the platinum membership. Aside from the early registration, I think the early access to merchandise is a big one for a lot of folks as well. So I don't know what you think about what the benefits of that membership is. I will probably not be signing up for any of those things, but I'll open it up to you guys.
I think another thing to point out is for a year, so that price is for a year. And then you guys are talking about it ahead of time that it's not going to include once it opens up, you're not going to be able to. Am I right on that? You're not going to be able to sign up for Wine and Dine and Marathon Weekend this year. It'll be after that.
Yeah, Wine and Dine is already open and done and closed and sold out. And then Marathon Weekend should be opening up here at the towards the end of April, more mid-April. So by the time you're able to register for this, those things will be probably long gone. So the benefits will really be for the after Marathon Weekend for Princess and for, I guess it's going to be Springtime Surprise again. And beyond that. And for, Dopey, I guess, 2024 and Wine and Dine 2023. So, yeah, it will not get you anything for Wine and Dine 2022 and Marathon Weekend. I think aside from the Expo access, right, Lake, and like the merch access, that kind of thing. But it's not going to give you registration benefits.
Yeah, I guess you would still get that either way. And you would still technically get the premier pricing. Not that matters because everything pretty much sells out before that. Mm-hmm. I do just think it's $800 for that premier one. That's just
$173.
That's ludicrous.
Yeah.
That's like 2 race. That's almost 3 race weekends running challenges.
Yeah. What's crazy is it just guarantees you the ability to register, but it does not give you any bibs to any races. It gives you a virtual 10K. I think if they gave you a registration that you could kind of float, if that makes any sense, like let's say they gave you you get a half marathon a year because those are happening at almost 3 out of 4 races. Then maybe that's or at least a 10K. Like imagine they gave you an in-person 10K a year free on top of that. maybe then you could start convincing people that it would actually make sense. But it gives you 0 registrations for any races. Just the ability to get a registration earlier than other people. So it's a lot of money, but maybe not a lot of money to some people. And maybe this is their thing, and perhaps you want to sign up for it. So if I had a free $850 disposable income, maybe I'd think about it. Get a little updated corral placement, which I don't know where that is. Did you guys notice any? I have that.
2, unless you're already placed further ahead, or 1. But 2 is what they. Yeah, I believe 2 is where they were placed.
That's pretty good. 2's pretty good. That's where you guys end up anyway. I mean, right? I mean, or like you're in 1.
1. Steve's in 1 too now.
Oh, you're in 1?
Yeah, I moved up a little bit.
There you go. So, guys, you can save money by running really fast.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yes. No. That's.
I think it's just indicative of everything they're doing at Disney right now, and like we've talked about this before. There's a lot of other races which do this type of program where if you join their club or whatever else, it gives you access to be able to get into some different races and stuff like that. So it's not. I don't want to just throw shade total at Disney for that. I don't think either one of us, the other 3 of us, it sounds like whatever are planning on doing this, but it's kind of indicative of just like the fast or the lightning lanes. You want to wait for 2 hours when we're just in Hollywood Studios after the race. You want to wait for 2 hours? Do you want to pay the $18? And not everybody's going to do this, but there will be some people that'll do it because of the ease that gets them into place or gets them into the races a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, if people are paying, if you want to go on eBay and get merch, or you don't get there the first day and you have to pay resale for stuff. If you're that person, may end up being worth it for you, so you can get access and guarantee that, I don't know. I'm at the point with this, with the particular product, like you said, Steve. Like, hey, if that's your way you want to spend your disposable income, and and tier it, that's awesome. If you can swing it, I believe I know one person, right? We know a mutual.
Yeah,
and that's a member. Although they haven't been able to utilize those benefits yet, but they joined up. So, totally get it. If Disney Cruise Line had some sort of a pay,
don't give them any ideas.
Exactly.
Well, they do.
Complain about it and do it kind of thing.
It's called concierge, Steve.
There, yes,
yeah, that's true.
Just sign up for concierge, and then you can get whatever you want.
I will just note, it is kind of like if you've ever waited and you can see the Club Run Disney people doing their shopping, and it's just quiet in there, and everyone's just kind of picking their stuff up. Like, that does look pretty appealing, but still not almost $900 worth of appealing.
Yeah, and I mean, if you run with a couple people, or you could literally split it and be like, hey, you be the person that goes in the merch area for. I don't know if there's limits or what, but I did hear that they're very strict about, they do not let guests go in with anybody or a Disney member. So you have to have, if you're a couple, if you're married, whatever, not married, and you friends, you have to both have
the membership.
Yeah, they're very
That's good though.
I think Alec will touch on a little bit when he talks about Springtime Surprise Weekend as far as merchandise goes, like the line that he had to wait in to get into it. So there's an advantage there if merchandise is your thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and move on. We actually have 2 little snippets looking forward at Marathon Weekend. The first is that we have the themes, which is pretty cool. I do not have the images loaded up here because we did not pre-plan this, but that's okay. But we're basically going with like an 80s, 90s retro theme, which is pretty cool. And for the races, you have Pluto for the 5K. Chip and Dale have now taken the place of Oswald or the 10K theme. And then you have Daisy Donald for the half marathon, Minnie Mickey for the full marathon, and then Goofy and Dopey as well. Oh, we got some phone action here.
Some low tech here.
I was just going to do that.
All right, yeah. 10K. You got Chip and Dale there. We got Daisy and Donald. I'm so stoked about that. That's really cool. I never say stuff like that. Usually I'm like horrible about this thing. This is really neat. I'm not going to lie. And the Goofy's pretty, which I believe, Steve, you're doing the Goofy next year.
Yeah, so hopefully.
And Dopey, which Dopey's always really pretty.
Yeah.
The theme is really, really, really neat.
I saw some people throwing some shade about Oswald being gone. They were happy he's gone.
Really?
Yeah, I was
heard
surprised
both.
on that.
I
Okay.
had someone actually message me, and they were so upset because I think they said it was going to be like their son's first run Disney 10K, and they love Oswald, and they were like, "Is there any chance that the theme will still be Oswald?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, but no." It's like these are pretty set.
Yeah. So they changed. Oswald used to be the 10K.
Yeah, he was the 10K for I think 2 years or 3 years technically with the
Years.
virtual.
Yeah. So now it's the Chippendale, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that one's the only theme for the marathon weekend that seems to like be inconsistent because it was just Minnie for a while, and then all of a sudden it was Oswald, and now it's Chippendale. And Chippendale have been the kids' races, and then for 1 year they were that relay, which I always think sounded super cool.
There's no indication that there's kids races back yet, huh?
No,
I think sorry. I missed that. Go ahead.
I was just I haven't seen anything about the kids' races. I know people keep asking about them, but they had mentioned like I think before Wine and Dine came back that they were gonna like change it to like some sort of like kids adventure, like scavenger hunt or something. Mm-hmm. But I haven't seen anything about it now. I don't think it's even like mentioned on their website.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping that they bring it back. For Wine and Dine, we'll see. There's no opportunity to register at the moment, and there doesn't seem to be an indication of it. But hope it's not gone. And I'm assuming they would like to bring it back. Have you, Steve? Have your kids ever participated?
No, we've never taken them down to the weekends. They've never come with us on those weekends. So
Gotcha.
yeah, and I mean to be fair, I think it's good for like younger kids, but
Right.
yeah, I mean they're pretty short races. So I mean, once your kids are a little bit older, if they're I don't know. It's fun. It's fun for them to be able to get a medal and a shirt and all that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they get a shirt, get a medal and everything like that, but yeah, we have done it.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, my kids are definitely interested.
Yeah, your kids would be perfect, the perfect age.
Yeah, they would. They'd be all about it. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
well,
update you as it goes.
Talking about things coming back for Marathon Weekend, we do have another event coming back that's Marathon Weekend adjacent that I think we're all pretty excited for because it happened to work out pretty well for us. The Castaway K Challenge is coming back.
Yeah, I wonder if before that they'll bring like the regular kind of organized race back. Have either of you guys participated in the Castaway Key 5K before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you have.
Yeah, I've done both versions now.
Have you done the challenge?
Not the challenge, no,
not the challenge.
Okay, so from what I understand, they kind of plus up the challenge a little bit and actually put like they try to. I think it might not be chip timed, but I know there's characters out there.
Yeah,
like if you run the Castaway Key 5K before, they do. It's not chip timed. It's not like anything like that, but they do. Have like an official start, and you get out there. But there's nothing on the course. There's just literally people going back and forth from the adult beach. There it is. Yeah. From the adult beach to the family beach. You get out on the runway, you run through the, down almost by the cabanas, you come back. But I've heard the challenge has like characters out there and they try to make it like the, on land, Disney World kind of races or Disneyland races. So
it typically also ran a different course as well. It utilized some of that back path. That takes you to like the really private beach area back past Serenity Bay. But talking a little bit about that, so that goes off of the Wish cruise that leaves the 9th. So that Monday, right after Marathon Weekend, it's a 4-night sailing. You have to be booked on that sailing before you can book the Castaway Challenge because they're going to ask you to basically give your reservation to link that.
I know a couple folks that might be on there.
I'll put it out there. I'm planning on being on there.
Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah, all three of us are, so it's going to be fun to be able to sail after Marathon Weekend. And you do get 2 medals for that Castaway Key. You get the one that everybody gets when they run the 5K, and then they have the challenge
medal, which is
medal, like a plussed up medal, because this is just the rubberized one, which everybody gets. Which it's cool to get that. So
they're not back yet, right?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, because we got one. In
Yeah, I got
November.
one last month.
For running like the virtual kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you just go up to the bike shack and they're like, "Oh, you look like you ran the 5K. You want your medal?"
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know there was okay. I mean, I've probably run it more than I've actually got a medal then now. But
Like, no, I just survived the beer line. Sweating.
yeah. Oh no. Okay, I didn't know that was back. Okay, cool.
You can also go to guest services on board the ship because we missed that. We went to guest services and they had they're not guaranteed to have them back there, but we got ours there. So another option too.
And a little dirty secret: it's not an official 5K, the regular course. It's
Right.
just short of 3.1 miles.
Oh my goodness.
It's 3.05 miles. Just so you know.
Yeah. Only other point to make with that is it is the Castaway Challenge, so you have to sign up for at least one race during marathon weekend to be able to also do the Castaway Challenge.
I always
Just
thought
a
you
note
had
there.
to go dopey. All the way
No.
through. Like you had to like really. So I'm yeah.
No, it says you can do. You just have to sign up for a race during marathon weekend.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
Oh, and it says you get a shirt, a bib, on course and post race refreshments. Just look for Steve at the finish line. He'll be holding
Hey,
refreshments for you.
come hang out with me. The one and only. What is it? $65, $85, $95?
I think 95.
Do they have the prices up already? I don't even know. I've got it pulled up
think
They
here.
do.
It could literally be $500. I'd probably still do it. That's Disney.
Well, luckily it's not. I think that's not too terrible for.
I mean, if you like go through like the dopey or the marathon, and you're, one, you just all those endorphins are flying around. You're ready, just take my money. Just shut up and take my money. Let me get this little extra additional cherry on top. I'm gonna do it. I decided to do it. If I have to do it on one leg, I'll do it on one leg. I'm doing it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm in. Should be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and move on into the main theme of this show, which is the Springtime Surprise. So I ran the Springtime Surprise Challenge, and Steve, you ran
The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror 10 miler, which was awesome.
Yeah, so spoiler, this weekend was super fun, and it was really cool. Sorry. The whole weekend was like throwbacks to basically defunct races. So all of these races existed in the past and no longer do. Now, next year, the whole thing with springtime is the themes are going to be different, depending on probably what IP or shows or whatever else they have going on. But people have been asking for that Twilight Zone Tower of Terror 10 miler to come back forever. So they went ahead and brought that back for this weekend. And I also really liked that 10 miler distance. But why don't we go ahead and talk about our experiences at the expo, and then I'll go through the 5K and 10K real quick, and then we'll talk about the 10 miler all together as well. So we did the expo. We rope dropped it. What was it? Thursday is the first day of it, which was kind of interesting because the 5K was also at Thursday evening. So you had to get to the expo basically that morning, and then you had to be over at Animal Kingdom that evening. So that was kind of different and interesting. We got there probably about 9:00, and I was thinking the merch line would be pretty similar to what it was like when we did Marathon Weekend, and it was already like way outside and winding around. I ended up waiting in it, and we didn't get into the expo until a little bit after 11. So we basically waited, for the expo to open like that 30 or 40 minutes or whatever, or no, it was almost an hour because we got there at like 9. And then we waited like another hour waiting for that whole line to go through. The only nice thing was they had a like snack and beer cart inside that area where they leave you around. So we got beer while we waited.
That was like halfway through, right? Or something like that? That was
Basically,
brilliant.
yeah.
That was brilliant.
They got us. They got our money, which was fine though because we got the cups for the weekend. So then we were able to use the cups at the finish line.
So I didn't realize that. That's a good tip. If you get those cups, if you bring them back to one of the races, it's cheaper. The beer is cheaper.
Yeah, they used to be like different colors or like have a different logo different years, but the last few race weekends it's been the same exact cup. But yeah, you can just bring that cup back then. And it's a good discount because it's $14 with the cup, or it's $8 just to get the refill. But Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah.
I cut
So
you off there. I broke you up.
you're good. Yeah. So we got in there. We got pretty much all the merch we wanted. I just got a couple pins. I got the magnets. The only pin that they were sold out of already was the Expedition Everest, the mini medal of that one. And they must have like only had maybe a couple hundred of those because everyone was looking for them. And like I said, I got in there an hour after opening and they were gone. So they just did not have a lot. I did notice there were like some staples that they typically have that weren't there. They didn't have magic bands this time, which I wasn't particularly looking for. I just noticed they didn't have it. I don't believe they had wine glasses this time, which people tend to really like. And they didn't have hats, which is like usually one of my go-tos. If I like the hat, I'll get it. So I thought that was interesting. And obviously we had the whole scare with the metals. So, supply chain stuff. We could end up seeing some of that stuff in the outlet stores, a month from now.
So I didn't get there until Saturday. I didn't get to the expo until Saturday. Flew in Friday. And by the time I got there Saturday, Lake met up with me, and there was nothing left, really. There was just some of the generic Run Disney stuff. A few of the race shirts left, but most of the stuff was like smalls and extra larges. So most of the stuff was pretty picked over. They did have generic Run Disney hats. Those are the only ones that I saw. They've had that the last two races. But yeah, the only thing that, I love the generic Run Disney logo. I just wish they would actually put it on a real running hat that you could wear.
Right. Yeah, I'll show you. I do have the metal replica.
Whoa.
Don't mind me. Yeah, so that's the 10K and the 10 miler, and then the springtime one.
Yep.
Did you just nail your microphone?
Pull it back just a little bit.
No, it's just I dropped it and it just like vibrates the whole table, and I don't have my microphone on a like a spring thing.
Yeah.
Pull it
I
back.
can just hear every
pull it back just a little. Bring it back. There you go. Now it's focused.
This one's super cool. This is just like the weekend pin, like the generic one, but it's got all the different logos around it.
Do they generally get that ornate like with stuff, or did they kind of plus up the merch?
I think the pins recently have been plussed up. I mean, the metal replica pins are still kind of the same as they've always been, but I like those. Right. But they've had a lot more because they've had like more weekend pins. They've been doing like jumbo pins and stuff.
That's pretty
I did
cool.
also get the water bottle because I thought the color and the design on it was cool.
Is that one of those like corksicle ones, or
It's not the corksicle, it's the Tervis one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I have a couple of. It's like a different style than they used to be, and I really like them.
Yeah, it looked like they did a good job with all the design and theming for the weekend. It looked kind of attractive enough to be different from the other weekends, and headed in the right direction. I give them a lot of credit for what they did with the weekend. And I'm a Star Wars fan myself, but maybe at some point they'll rotate a little bit of that in. But ironically, and Steve, you'll get to it, you got to run through Galaxy's Edge without it being a Star Wars weekend. So kind of interesting. Right. But so I think at some point they may integrate a little bit more of a explicit Star Wars thing back in there. I don't know if they'll have a Star Wars run weekend again, like in full. I doubt it, but looked really cool. Which everything looked great. I have no complaints from what I saw, aside from what I heard. What's going on with buses and transportation? The
only issue we had with buses was on the 5K day, and I'll get into that in just a bit.
Yeah.
I didn't really hear anything about issues with the expo, but I drove to the expo, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, I sometimes they're just like larger social media accounts, and you just get some information from them that you're like, oh, what's going on with buses? But it's not like, I've had a bus sort of get lost before going to one of the events, literally just making the wrong turn before. So it's not unusual.
Steve will be able to hit on that.
Yeah,
a little bit later.
Yeah,
but so. Other than that, the expo was a madhouse for us. It was much more pleasant when I went back with Steve. We were able to walk around a little bit more. Like everything but bib check-in was, just a madhouse. Lots of people everywhere, even in like the expo floor with all the vendors. Bib check-in, pretty much same as always. Very smooth, super easy, no problems there. And like I said, we got our shirts and everything all right. Other than that, it was a decent expo. Expo hall a little bit smaller than what we saw with Princess, but Princess just had some more bigger, elaborate booths. Because Pandora had like a whole like big castle around their booth, and then Corksicle had a whole setup. They didn't have anything really like big like that for their main sponsors this time, but overall, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, lots of different options, different shoes that you could get, merchandise if you've got shirts, that type of stuff. And I really like after you walk out of where the main Disney merchandise is, when you walk out of there, they've generally got like little setups for each one of the races where you can get your picture taken in front of it for the Springtime Challenge, the 5K, the 10K, and in this case, the 10 miler. So I thought those were pretty cool.
Yeah, I do always love like pretty much every building you go into has some sort of pretty cool photo op. And I'll have a whole video on the expo probably out in the next few days. I'm like super behind on all my videos, so probably this week you'll see stuff for Springtime start to pop up. But I don't have any other thoughts on the expo if you don't.
No, not really.
All right, so oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was super easy, especially by Saturday getting through everything like that. But it was definitely noticeable, like less people compared to, because I've only been to Marathon Weekend before, and overall, just for the weekend, you could definitely tell it was like not quite as many people, but it was still a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the energy.
Yeah, I definitely don't think I have the need to like rope drop an expo, at least not anytime soon. I'll get whatever merch I get. I hope they bring back pre-orders, honestly. Like, I want to be able to just pre-order the things that I want and be done with it. I'll pay the extra 20% versus what I would get my AP discount at this point. Just let me ensure that I'll get it. I'm fine if it doesn't show up in time for the weekend and you got to mail it to me.
Definitely. Hey, Dennis. Dennis is watching tonight. Good to see you. And he's a big runner down in Texas, and hopefully we're going to drag him down to one of our Run Disney races here eventually.
Yeah, come join the club, but not Club Run Disney.
Later.
Yeah, I am a little bit. I'm a little bit intrigued by it, but not for that price point. But why don't we go ahead and move on?
I'm trying to turn over the positivity leaf here. So I would veer in your direction, like 100%. But I'm just going to let people spend money how they want to spend it. If they believe a jacket and a virtual 10K is the answer, and an updated corral without earning it, go for it. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I'm going to go ahead and move it on to the 5K, which is probably the race I'm most critical of this weekend, just because I think we had some like rough calls. So they were calling for pretty bad weather right around the time of the race. So they made kind of some indecisive decisions, I think. And it all ended up working out fine in the end, but they basically held the buses at ESPN. So everyone was waiting for the buses, and the people, there's always the person in the like bright yellow reflector jacket there, and they were like, oh, hey, they're holding the buses, kind of waiting to see what the weather's going to look like. And of course, like at that point, it was still super nice out. And then they kind of flip-flopped, and they were like, all right, we're sending out the buses, and not all the buses made it to places. We had friends who waited basically like an hour to get their bus, whereas we had like 4 buses show up pretty much right away. We were at Saratoga that night. And the kind of frustrating thing about that was they held the buses, but then we're like, all right, we got to get the race going. We got to get the people in and out of here. Of course, the draws to these races was a nighttime race, and it was also supposed to be like this virtual scavenger hunt. So you were supposed to bring your phone, and they had this whole like thing set up where you go, basically when you pass certain checkpoints in the park, you were going to get like questions for stuff to answer. And they were like, we don't want you guys like hanging out in the park because we want you to get through this before the storm's going. So we're cutting that out. You can do it basically like the next day. They were like, oh yeah, we'll send it out to you guys, which basically I thought killed the like entire vibe of it. And then they also shortened the course because they wanted to just like get us out of there. And I feel like if they had just, started the buses when they were meant to, they could have like just ran the race as normal. Because the timing worked out that it stormed like right as Katie and I got back to Saratoga, and we were walking into like where our building was. So like we ended up, having probably a good another 40 minutes before the storm started. And I get it. That's super hard to like make those judgment calls, especially when all you have is like this radar that's saying this, that, and the other thing. I don't know. I wish they would have kind of gone one way or the other with it instead of being like, oh, we're delaying. No, go. Because that was kind of strenuous. Otherwise, Katie and I did the 5K together, and we had a blast. It was so much fun. It was super tight. This was not like a wide course. There's not a lot of room. When you get into Animal Kingdom, there's literally a point that it's like, I don't know, maybe an 8-foot path getting through the gate, and you're squeezing all these people through. So it was definitely tight. We really didn't do a whole lot of running. It was kind of just like a moving party, which was fun. A lot of kind of just walking around and going oohs and ahs. We didn't stop for any characters or anything because the lines were pretty long at that point. But they did have some cool ones. Divine was out there. They had pretty much a bunch of like all the Fab Five characters in their like safari gear. They had a couple others out there. I don't remember exactly who all. But otherwise, like, we had a blast. It was super fun going through Animal Kingdom. Like I said, it was kind of just like a big party vibe as you made your way around Animal Kingdom. So I definitely enjoyed it. I would love to see another night race come back, or even just like another 5K through Animal Kingdom like that, because it was cool. Also, because they can't do fireworks there, the start was like this like gas blowing over it, and it looked really cool.
The only thing I heard was a couple of people talking about the scavenger part of it. They were kind of disappointed there wasn't more to it, but it sounds like they they just kind of glossed over that because of the weather and everything that happened, right? Like, or am I out to lunch on that?
Yeah, they basically like canceled the scavenger hunt, but it was all app based anyways. But it really wasn't super like Animal Kingdom-y theme. They made up this whole story about how you were trying to find this lost explorer, and it was like almost like general knowledge, like trivia questions, to be honest. I would have preferred if it was more like, okay, you're at this point in Animal Kingdom, you're looking for, whatever, there's how many things in this area type of deal. And I get that they really, like, realistically with a race like that, they can't do that. They can't have people going all back and forth there. But it would have been cool. Or even if it was more like AK centric, like, oh, you're at the Tree of Life, how many animal sculptures are there on it? And, no one's going to sit there and be able to count that, but at least it would be like tie into Animal Kingdom more. But all in all, like I said, the 5K was fun. The setup there, like the pre-stage area, was super bare bones because obviously they pretty much like set it up that day, tore it down that day, because they just they don't have a huge parking lot there. So there was like there wasn't a big official photo pass at the end. It was literally just like the people standing there at the end of the finish line, like, all right, we're photos. There was no backdrop or anything. And I guess like off in some far corner, there was a couple scenes you could take pictures with that looked pretty cool. But we never saw it because we were rushing to basically get there, then get in the corral. And then we were like, oh, it's going to rain soon, so we better get back. And I know a lot of people were doing Moonlight Magic, so they like booked it through the course and then got on the bus and headed right back to Epcot.
I like the idea that they're having it at night. So, I don't know how they did the scavenger stuff before in the past, and you could probably speak to that, like, but I hope that they keep some kind of differences with this race just to break up kind of all the rest of the different experiences. So like, I like the fact that they have one at night, and I like, as we're going to talk about a little bit later, that it was a 10-mile instead of a 13.1. So any thoughts, Steve?
You can't get a better park to run through at night than, Magic Kingdom and seeing the castle is really cool, but going through Pandora and Animal Kingdom is when it's dark is awesome. And you can get that, when you're doing some of the half marathons, if you get there early enough in the morning. But a night race, like where you're guaranteed to have that, is pretty cool. That would be a 5K I'd be interested in doing. A lot of times I just don't do the 5K because, it's during the week and, just easier to get there on a weekend for us. But it seemed really neat. The whole theme. The only thing is like, if Everest is closed,
right?
So I was like, it's kind of a bummer. Like, imagine if you were able to kind of ride Everest if it was like open. That would be pretty neat, which a lot of people do during the marathon, or used to at least. But yeah, Everest is closed now for the foreseeable future. Now it's not even opening back up. I think they had a date previously, and now they eliminated that. But yeah, that was the only thing that was weird. It was like, oh, the ride's closed, but it didn't affect the theming experience, from what I understood.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool race. I hope that they keep, that nighttime theme, or at least it's like different, shake it up themes for these races, different distances and times. Other cool thing was that because it was on a Thursday, you had that whole Friday off. There was it wasn't, one race, two race, three races, 3 mornings in a row. I really enjoyed that. Like that was awesome to just have the whole day in between.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I hope they continue to try to find ways to do things at night. It'd be nice to even see a little bit of a longer race at night, but I don't know how realistic that is. But
you never know. I said I didn't think that they were going to mix it up as much as they did for this weekend, and they surprised me even with the night race and the 10 miler. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean it's nice to see to not have to to have it all be here, right, in one place for us selfishly. Not have to say like, oh, Disneyland or Disneyland Paris have like this type of event and this type of event. It's nice to see that they're switching it all up here. I'm sure the Disneyland folks really, really, really want the races back. And honestly, if they came back, I would literally think about traveling to go do that but the demand for those races has to be through the roof. Every single time you watch a Run Disney official account tweet, go look at the comments about Disney. When are you bringing back Disneyland races? Absolutely
hundreds of
fans.
Comments.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll ever come back, but have you guys ever done them? Just random aside, Steve.
Katie has. I haven't.
Katie has done it.
Yeah, she did it the Disneyland half, the year it was the 65th. So she has the medal that's the diamond. It's super cool. It's one of my favorite medals, and it's not even mine.
That is so cool. If Disneyland races come back, Steve, I know you would be there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, you can do it virtual. You can sign up for the virtual this summer and just run around Anaheim.
Oh, is that right? Is there like a...
No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying just sign up for the virtual summer series.
Oh, under the Frozen. Oh, it's all, one theme.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Be cool. They should do a Disneyland pass holder virtual event. There you go.
That
would be neat. All right, there you go. Never mind.
All right. So I'll go ahead and I'll kind of brush through the 10K really quick. I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. It was overall a good race. The only thing that was kind of cool and different was it was almost like the original 10K course where it's all Epcot based, but it was backwards. So you did like a quick into Epcot after you started and you went out the main entrance there. And then you did like a little double back, basically like you were finishing the half marathons that finish through Epcot where you go through the up and downs and over the bridge. But then you went into Epcot quick and you did a quick out and you did like the Boardwalk Yacht Club area backwards. And then you went around World Showcase. So basically like the last half of the race was all, in park or on, on stage basically, because you were either running through resorts or through the park. And it was just cool. It was kind of backwards from what that old 10K course. So it was another good like kind of mix up for the race weekends. It wasn't the same 10K course that I said I really liked from Princess and Marathon weekend, but I actually appreciated that it was also still just a different 10K course like within the same year.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them for switching things up.
Oh, actually, go ahead. You can keep talking. I do have medals here. I'll go ahead and.
Oh, there's a 5K. It's a compass, right?
Yeah, it is a compass.
Compass, Lake?
What's that?
Is it a working compass?
Technically, it could be, but it's not because they put these little magnets up on the top. It's never going to actually work. Also, probably 50% of the people who have this medal, the little needle is like broken and just jiggling around in it.
I heard they had some issues.
Yeah, Katie's is like that. It was pretty much like that. Like by the time we got back to Saratoga, I like this part though. I think this is cool, and you can see the strap here.
In the context of 5K medals, that is very nice.
Yeah, I mean it's probably like one of the more in-depth medals that they've done in a long, long time, just because it does open and all that. I mean, I think all the medals this weekend are really cool, and the medals like for the last year have been, I think, on point. And I'll go ahead and I got that 10K, which
is that the weaker one of the weekend?
I think probably you're right. It's probably the weaker one, but I'm a sucker for like, generic Epcot Spaceship Earth. So I really like this one. That spins and you have the Disney 50 on it.
Neat. Yeah. All right, dope. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Plus you got Ratatouille.
I'm not complaining. And then the band has, the Epcot design on it and along with Race for the Taste, all that good stuff.
I like that. Okay. And then you have the 10 mile. The 10 mile is really neat too, right?
Yeah, I'll get to that then.
Oh yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, only other I think thought I have from the 10K was our friend Sarah, who Steve, I know you've met her. I think you've met her too. She got third overall for women's in that race.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty killer, to be honest.
Great job.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so
If she's watching, can we give her a shout out? Is like a I don't want to be. I'm not being patronizing. That's awesome. Third in her.
yeah, no, that's what I said. That's why I wanted to say something.
Awesome. Yeah, great job. I got 300th, I think, in my age group, which is high anxiety in my category.
High stakes.
No, I'm glad you guys got that laugh. All right, great. Good evening. I have a question regarding the 2023 marathon weekend. Do you think Dopey will sell out in 20 minutes like it did in 2021 did? Yes, except I think it'll sell out faster. That's my answer.
We'll see, honestly. I mean, I'm seeing lots of people saying they're excited for Dopey this year. A lot of people saying first time Dopey, this and that.
I think this is going to be one. If you want to sign up for it, you should probably do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got double anniversaries, which tends to be draws for people with the marathon and Dopey. So it definitely could be a pretty big weekend.
Yep. I have no doubt that this is going to go quick. I mean, Wine and Dine went pretty quick. Last year it was open for a little while.
Oh yeah, you're right. And this
last year was open for a bit. So if you want to, if you think Wine and Dine is an indication of what the demand is for the future, like last year, I think the half and challenge might have been open for a little while for 2021.
A lot of the races were open for a while, but that and marathon weekend too, we still had people were hesitant to travel at that point.
Right, Omicron.
You couldn't even get a room for Wine and Dine. So, and it was soon. It was, only like 4 months from registration to race.
Yep.
So, some people just couldn't swing that. So there's a lot of reasons why that may not have sold out. And then we saw marathon sold out a little bit slower. Some things still sold out pretty quickly, but I think people this year are really, we saw springtime was a big sellout. People were begging to get into that challenge in the 5K.
Yeah. The only thing open was the 10 miler, and I think that eventually sold out at the end.
As soon as they, I feel like not long after they revealed what the medal would look like, it sold out like a day or two after. I want to say so, and it's we'll see it in a bit, but it was a cool theme. I love Tower Terror stuff. I think it's great.
Just to answer Jeff's second question here, do you think that Club Run Disney would be beneficial to get that early registration? If you sign up for Club Run Disney during this next session, it doesn't start until after the marathon registration.
Unless you're already a member.
Correct, yeah. If you're already in it, then you'll get it, but you're not going to get it if you sign up for it in this, what is it, a couple of weeks from now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would. It is... So sign up for Marathon Weekend. Huh?
It should be April 19th, right?
Right?
Yeah. Marathon Weekend opens April 19th for the general public, and then there's some earlier dates for the Club Run Disney people that are still part of that right now.
Yep.
All right.
It needs to sell out quick.
All right. Do we want to? Like I said, I don't have any other thoughts on the 10K. It was a good race. Only other thing that I thought was nice was they changed the way that they organized the corrals a little bit. So start group 1, instead of being on the far end, like the farthest spot away from the start to be the first people to start, they moved S1 to basically right at the start. So you just walked up to the start line. That was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
It made getting to the corral, because like I said, S1 would have to do that walk in the snake. So the corral would close super early and then start moving. And when everyone was moving, everyone was trying to push up to get to the front to be in the start picture. So that was always a little bit annoying. This time it was way more leisurely, about 15 minutes before the race. We didn't move all the way up to the front, but we got to be able to be 3 or 4 people back, which was appropriate for the pace that we were running, because we did run the race fairly fast.
We, as in you and Steve?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, just
he's talking about the 10K.
Oh, you're talking about the 10K. Apologies.
And you guys got up there for the 10 miler as well too. So
yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, that's all the thoughts on the 10K. Let's move into this 10 miler because we do have some things to unpack here, and we are on a little bit of a time crunch this evening. So I didn't have any issues getting to the race or getting into the corrals. Pre-race was all pretty much normal for me. But I'm going to go ahead and hand this one off to Steve because he did have some issues.
Yeah, so I stayed at Old Key West, and I got on the second bus. And I will say they were really good about the buses. There were tons of buses, at least at Old Key West, and it was there's no problem as far as like getting on. I remember the time I stayed at Popton, it seemed like there was like a ton of people out there, and just there's more people at that resort, I guess, as far as getting on the buses. People are a little stressed out about it. But our bus went to Magic Kingdom, and I was thinking that maybe we're going to start from there. The driver got lost, and so I think we ended up getting to the drop-off point probably about 30 minutes before the race started. But by the time you went through the bag check area, you dropped off your bags, went through the little security, and then got out to the course. I think I got out there about like 10 minutes before the race actually started. So just another one of those challenges to get you to the start line. But I know we've all heard that happen before. It's the first time it's happened to us. Normally, it's always been spot on as far as getting out to the races.
It definitely happens. It's not common, but it happens.
Yeah. I don't want to say like it happens all the time or anything like that, but
and then listen, they're not going to hold up the race for anybody.
No,
it doesn't. It's Mears contracted buses and transportation. If you're late, if your bus, whatever happens. They cannot stop the race for anything. There's no delaying even for their official transportation. So it does happen. Mostly it's just a scare as opposed to you actually missing anything. So it tends to work out. So
yeah, I mean, this whole weekend was just about fun for me. So other than just making sure that we got out there, I wasn't like trying to PR or anything like that. And but there was definitely a lot of people that were pretty stressed out on the bus. So
I mean, rightfully so.
Exactly.
They make this big deal about, you got to be on the bus at 2:30, 3 a.m. to get over there so you can sit around and wait and this and that. So I understand, and plus you paid a lot of money to be there, and maybe if you were trying to get some pre-race photos or do a meet, there's a lot of meetups and stuff that go on there. I could definitely see why people might be a little bit frustrated.
Oh, definitely not. No,
but I think overall, most people. I don't think I've heard of people like completely missing the race. Maybe you didn't get into your corral or something of the sort. But I think usually, even if you have that issue, you're gonna get there. But yeah, so why don't we go ahead into the race? One thing that was cool is with the start, they had like the fire. I thought that was neat. That was different too. I don't know if they've done that before, and I really liked this course. I don't know. I think most people liked this course. Something that was a little bit different is most courses start with, some highway slog, and then, they end with a lot of park, or, with the halves that run to Magic, it's highway, Magic, highway, Epcot. This one was like a lot of park and a lot of on-stage stuff, pretty much the first half of the race. And then the middle, like 3 or 4 miles was a bit of a highway slog, but I thought it went super quick. But you basically started the race and you went like right into Epcot. You got to do a little bit around Epcot, and then you went around Boardwalk. You went down that path to take you to Hollywood, and then you got to do the most area of Hollywood that you've ever gotten to do. And you got to run through Galaxy's Edge for the first time, which was something I've been like begging for them to do. Like, I feel like if they would have done that for the Star Wars races, people would have been way more excited for signing up for those races.
And they could have. Galaxy's Edge was open during the last Star Wars race, and made no sense that they didn't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is super, super, super cool. You can criticize that land all you want, but the aesthetics of it are pretty damn awesome. So I would have loved that. That's pretty neat. Pretty neat.
It was cool running through it because like the whole area is empty other than like where the runners are. So it's just like cool and quiet in there. They had some stormtroopers up like on the top thing where they usually are during the day. I do wish they would have maybe had like a couple characters out for in the Star Wars area. I think that would have been like a real big plus for them.
Yeah, the only thing they had was an X-Wing, but that was kind of cool because they had like kind of a smoke machine around it and everything like that. So you get your picture in front of that the blue X-Wing that's parked out there, and it had smoke all rising around it. So like at night, that was kind of a cool picture to get. And then the stormtroopers up there. Yeah, I'm with you. I wish they would have had somebody out there else as well. But it was super cool to go through it. I want to go back just one other thing, and I want to give a huge shout out to your sister Chloe Lake, that she started in Corral 4. She was a lot faster. She should have been up in Corral 1, but man, she kicked starting in 4. She finished up with a 9-minute mile. And so the only thing that I think I love this race as far as all, and I was listening to another podcast where they're talking about it, like this is the most parks I think that you get in a Run Disney race as far as like running through the parks itself. But the one challenge is if you're in the back, there's a lot of narrow areas going through it. And so
very early too.
Yeah, very early. And so like until you get out to that highway, she said, which was like mile 5 or something like that, was when she could finally like turn it on. So man, she must have been hauling when she got on the freeway to get that 9-minute mile pace. But huge shout out to her, because that was pretty amazing to do that. But just I guess the one maybe thing to think about this race is maybe if you're in the back part, it might be a little crowded going through the parts of it.
Yeah, definitely could have been congested. I actually, because of that, I mean, they probably would have been fine for me either way, but I ran the first half of the race like super fast. I was clocking like 6:30s for the most of it, just because I didn't want to like get stuck anywhere. And a lot of times, like even that first character stop, gets backed up pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So I ran that pretty fast. Also, that part in the beginning where they like send you back in time.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too.
Really cool. Yeah.
So they did kind of theme it.
Yeah, there was a whole like 1939 theme that they laid really, really heavily into, like almost a little bit too much, but that's okay, whatever. But the first like when you're going through it was basically right after the Epcot parking lot. It was very similar to if you have ever ran Wine and Dine and they do like the stuff in the woods for the Star Wars races or for the villains. They had all like the bubbles and stuff. It was like that, but it was like these like fountains and they had smoke machines and stuff going through it. And then they had projectors displaying the like the swirl from the Twilight Zone. It was doing the doo 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 doo. It was cool. It was like a really good like immersion effect for the start of the race.
Yeah, and then they kind of played up that whole 1930s theme throughout the rest of the race, as far as some of what the characters were dressed up. Some of the characters were kind of dressed up in that theme. Goofy was, I know, on a couple of on the one of the spots he was at. So
yeah, they didn't have Goofy in his bellhop though.
Yeah, you're right.
Like missed opportunity.
Yeah.
By the end, did they change the music completely? I saw somebody running and it was like completely different than the like off theme at the end. It was like just Disney soundtrack kind of music.
I don't
remember.
Okay.
I was trying to catch Lake at that point. I couldn't keep track of the music.
Yeah, he's kind of like we were just running 6:30s.
I know.
we were fine. We were just running 6:30s. So 6:30 what kilometers?
Yeah. I will say too, for this race, as far as like 10 miles, so I've done the marathon and the 13.1, I guess the halves as far as that goes. And there's always like large kind of swaths like you're talking about, especially on the highways where there's not much going on. But they had stuff going on almost the entire course, whether it was like they had a band or there's a high school band going across one of the interchanges. And then a couple of the big Cloverleaf where you go up, they had like some people on there too to kind of like get you going. And then throughout the parks, there was a
Lost Tourists or whatever.
The Lost Tourists.
They were hilarious, actually.
Yeah. And then they had some like random people, like they had Agent P, they had Perry the Platypus out there, which was super cool to see him. So they had some obscure, and then Jiminy Cricket too. I don't know if they usually have him out there.
I did see those. I was going to say, I feel like they also sort of went all out for Star Wars weekend. Like, and I wonder if they go out a little harder for weekends that don't have quite the demand that some of the other weekends do, if that makes any sense. I always felt like when I did Star Wars, like the beginning when it's like super dark when you're running out, and they do like it's like a fight
battle on the Endor battle.
Yes, yeah, I always thought that was really cool to start the race, and it was like felt a little extra relative to some of the other things that I've been involved with, and I know Star Wars always had a hard time kind of selling out, and Springtime did sell out. But I always thought that maybe did they go a little harder on the weekends that they, maybe are not quite the draw that some other weekends are. Like they really don't have to try very hard for a marathon weekend. Like that's, pretty popular weekend. They don't even Princess, I think, is pretty popular. But yeah, that's great that they leaned into it. I think it's I think it's really neat, and obviously, I think next year will be something completely different. Yeah, I don't think they're going to repeat anything from what they did this year. But I like that. I like that idea that you can get something different every year out of it.
Yeah, definitely a lot of like cool different entertainment. They had the cast bells guy. It was like a big cart of the guy playing like the bell things. I don't even know like how to explain it. It was up by Hollywood. I have video on it, so it'll be in my 10 miler video.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Just a lot of different stuff. The only part that was a little bit light was on the actual World Drive. They were trying to get people off that, so they didn't have any character stops. They had some entertainment out there. They had singers out there, and then they had another spot, but it was all stuff that you would just like run by and be like, oh, look at that. It wasn't like anything that you would stop for your picture. So that was a little bit light, but other than that, cool characters. The course finishes. You do a little bit of an in and out of Epcot, and the finish is like the marathon finish where you go out and you go all the way around Mission Space, and then you go down in between the Guardians building, which is like that whole area just feels like it's like 2 miles, even though it's like half a mile.
That building is so huge; it doesn't seem like you just keep turning and it's like you just keep
keeps going.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go. Go ahead. Sorry, like.
No, go ahead. If you want to keep talking, I'm just going to go ahead and plop this up here. This is the 10 miler medal.
Oh, can you move him? There he is.
Yeah, and this was pretty well designed. There's like, he slits into this lockup top so he won't like fall down, and then you can like move it over so it'll actually go up and down.
Oh, it won't do it on its own. You have to actually push it.
Yeah, you can see on the back.
It locks in.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's got these notches on the side.
So that's really neat. Yeah.
Of course, now he's like stuck, and you get the point.
I get the point. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
I get the point.
Very, very neat.
It's
springtime.
Oh,
This is the challenge medal, which I actually really like this. I kind of hope I would be okay if they did something like this, for each springtime, and it was like different characters. I just think this is like a cool medal. He spins like all sorts of directions.
Do you have a favorite of the weekend? Favorite medal theme of the weekend? 10 miler?
Oh, man. These were all, I think, bangers for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really do. It would probably, though, like, top of the top is between either Everest or the 10 miler. I like the 10 miler because it has that, like, classic metal look.
Yeah.
But the Everest one has cool details.
Yeah. Plus, Steve ran it, so.
Yeah. I have to like the 10 miler because that's the only one I got.
I mean, the 10 miler overall was just a really fun race, though. Obviously, my sisters both ran it. It was both their first weekends. They're hooked now. Sky is signed up for the challenge for Wine and Dine.
Awesome. Yeah.
First race?
It was both of their first, yeah. Oh. And their first 10 milers, too.
Okay. That's awesome. And where'd they fly in from, Lake?
Sky is local, and then Noel flew in from Jersey.
All right. Shouts to Sky and Noel. That's awesome. All right. That's very cool. First race. They're in now. Hook, line, and sinker. We got them in.
And so then,
hey, and I gotta go back and apologize because I said Chloe.
You did, and I was just gonna give you a pass on it until after.
I totally apologize. No, so there's a story to it. I was just on a layover, and we got passes for this convention, and the pass that my first officer got was Chloe. And I was like giving him crap about it the whole time because these two girls. I was like, you got to go as Chloe as from Switzerland. And I don't know, that name is just stuck in my head. So I apologize, Noelle. I sincerely apologize. She rocked the course, though. And your sisters are awesome. Like,
I love that Steve's apology about missing the name comes with like a whole backstory as well as I'm sorry. Like, he's not just sorry. He has an entire subliminal memory of why his
I'm like, well, awesome. I don't know. I don't even know a Chloe. Like, where did that name come from? That's stuck in my head. Like, so I apologize.
If you ever want to meet the nicest human being on the planet, you should meet Steve Creasy because he's the nicest person ever.
Hey, I want to go back and say one other thing, that something that I didn't notice, and Sky talked about it as far as security. So there was one kind of bottleneck getting out to the corrals, at least in the 10 miler, where they checked your bib to make sure that you were a runner. Yeah. And then there was also, that's the first time I've seen like people. I mean, I think I've seen security around before, but this is the first time I've seen security riding bikes and stuff too, up and down the course. And it was because there were some people that joined the run the night before, the day before, Lake.
Yeah. So this is all, kind of hearsay, but from what we hear there was people who had course hopped on the 10K and they were looking for them. So then for the 10 miler, they were really strict. So at that area to get into the corrals to check your bibs, they made these gates into like 2 little funnels and everyone had to get through them. And then there was, volunteers all standing around in the way there too. So it was just a lot to like get in there. And they were just trying to be thorough and do their job. Once I kind of like, I was like a little bit, I was like, this is weird. Probably not super necessary. And then once I realized what they were doing, I was like, oh, okay. Like they're just trying to make sure everyone has their bibs.
That's legit. Yeah.
I've seen them before.
And it doesn't surprise me because the way like these races sold out, people are going to sometimes try to do that. I mean, spoiler alert, stuff like that happens, not even just at Run Disney races, but at all sorts of different marathons. But I do want to pass it back to you, Steve, because this is your first non-marathon weekend. And I know you're kind of running short on time here. So I'd love to hear kind of your compare and contrast and if you have thoughts on which one's your favorite.
I think it's like the Disney ships, in all honesty, like whatever one you just did, because I mean, there wasn't as many people there, but that's not like it was empty or anything like that. There was still tons of people, and the energy and what they did with the courses, it was super fun to be able to do something different. I mean, I like running the half marathon. I think that's a good distance, but 10 mile is just a little bit easier, a little bit shorter. And the fact that you got to go through the parks and have so much that it did, honestly, I would say that this has probably been one of my favorite races I've run, just because it's only 10 miles instead of 26.2. But no, just because of all the different parts that you got to see in the parks, and it's a lot more fun than just running along the side of the highway and whatnot. But I am definitely looking forward to seeing what they bring back. And I wrote down, before I leave, I got 3 ideas for next year, what they can do as far as what the names of the races are going to be. But I loved it.
Go ahead, shoot them off. Let's hear it.
All right, I'm gonna go with the 5K is going to be the Tron Trot. Hopefully that's going to be at night, and then we're going to do the 10K Guardians Virtual Breakout of Epcot, and we'll finish it up with the Millennium Falcon Kessel Run 10 miler. And
wow,
kind of get that Star Wars theme in for
wow.
Like,
I actually love I love that.
Hire this man. I don't know if you're still gonna. If you quit now, can you get a pension from what you're currently doing?
Yeah,
you heard it here first.
Yeah, my next inquiry to Run Disney, you're going to be on the other line, like ready to do the themes. That's great. I still think people are chomping at the bit for some Pixar stuff.
That's a good point. They'll probably have like some kind of Pixar maybe with Hollywood Studios this time. If
they did like an exclusive Pixar weekend, which I honestly think they could do it on a continuum. Like they could legit just make this weekend a Pixar weekend and constantly have.
Yeah. I mean, they changed one of the Disneyland races to Pixar, right? But it was like it only happened once before it stopped. But
right, I think they could. I think they could absolutely crowd. I mean, you saw the Pixar theming too for Disney Cruise Line. Would be interesting to get a Castaway Key Challenge Pixar Run springtime weekend right into a cruise, another tie-in. No, but yeah, something like Pixar, I think would be a major hit. But your ideas are awesome. I think they're great. And they're gonna seemingly do something different. And it's later next year, right? It's like April.
About 2 weeks later, yeah, because it's always changed because of how Easter falls.
Right, and the 5K I heard and 10K were so humid.
They were, they were extremely really humid. Bad. The 10 mile, it all made it worth it because the 10 miler was nice weather.
Yeah. It broke, right? You got some rain and it broke a little bit for the 10 miler, but
we really never had rain during the races though, which was nice. We had that Saturday after the 10K was rainy like all day. We had we met up, we all had dinner with Maria and Enzo's.
Yeah.
We had like 2 big tables of people. Unfortunately, we got seated like really far apart, but it was still super cool to like just sit down and chat with everyone.
I think I will say about that with regards to the weather and this weekend, it's a little bit more of a guarantee that it's going to be warmer than the other weekends, I would say.
For sure.
Especially next year being a little later. I think, again, when I ran Star Wars, it was probably the most miserable I have been on a run. It was unbelievably steamy that weekend. So it's a little bit more of a guarantee, although we're having beautiful weather this weekend. It's a little bit more of a guarantee that you're going to get warmer weather for April than some of the other weekends as well, which I also, maybe that's why, having a shorter race like a 10 miler over half is very attractive for this particular weekend. I don't think it needs to follow that formula of 5K, 10K, half on when it's not. I really don't think it needs to follow that at all. In fact, I think they can get away sometimes with doing multiple intervals of several different. They could get away with 3 5Ks, 3 10K. I really think they could, if with various themes. I don't always think that with Run Disney races it's about the distance that they're doing. I think a lot of it has to do with the fun themes and so on, and where So lots of opportunities for this weekend.
You got to take off, Steve?
Yeah, I'm going to have to jump out, but it's always fun talking Run Disney. I mean, that was the fun part too, being down on the weekend with friends.
Before you go.
Yeah.
It's official.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, come join us on the Wish after Marathon Weekend and run the Castaway Key Challenge. And Steve will be there at the finish line with your refreshments.
There you go. Wu-Tang, baby.
All right, guys. You know how to sign it out and everything, right?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, I'll let you get Kim's question too. So, awesome job, Kim, doing the virtual 5K coming up for Food and Wine.
Yeah, so she says, I'm signed up for the Wine and Dine virtual 5K. Steve, if you got to take off, thanks again for joining us, and
cheers,
we'll
guys.
see you next time.
Bye.
Take care.
And then she said, I'm hoping to do my first in-person as a 10K for either Princess or Springtime next year. Speaking of weather, for my first in-person, which do you think would be better? By the way, while we're answering these, if you guys have any other questions about Run Disney or Springtime, go ahead and drop them here. We'll take a few minutes and just answer some questions before we close out the show. If you're looking for cooler weather, Princess is going to be your better bet. It's either usually really hot or absolutely freezing that weekend. Usually no in between, but Springtime is just guaranteed going to be hot.
There we are.
Let's do it. It's like, what is, I can't think of it. Oh, Voltron.
Yes. Here it is. Yes. Let our powers combine. I believe that was Captain Planet, whatever that was.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's different. Not Voltron. Yeah, but I'm stoked for that. So, yeah, Princess was the coldest race we've ever done. Absolutely freezing, and I prefer to start that way than steaming hot. So, it was. Princess is definitely a better weather weekend than I would say than the April races are.
Yeah, I will say, just with weather aside, like just from my rankings of this past year, I would definitely put Springtime above Princess, though both are like fantastic weekends. I actually think all 4 weekends from this like Run Disney season were really fantastic. Sure, I have biggest complaint is still there's no characters after the finish line. Mm-hmm. I would love to see that come back. That again is just my biggest complaint there for all the weekends. But I mean, you really can't go wrong with any of the weekends if they're as solid as they've been this last year.
Oh, and just from before, if you are a current Club Run Disney member, registration for Marathon Weekend is April 12th at 10 a.m.
Tuesday this week.
General registration is the 19th. I believe pass holder and DVC early registration seems to be a thing of the past.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was one of the things that I bashed about Club Run Disney. I was like, well, we already get early registration because we're pass holders. And they were like, you thought we were going to let you keep that for free? Yeah,
unfortunately, even DVC, I mean, you run the risk of alienating and sort of stretching your most loyal fans a little bit thin, I think, with relation to all the different levels of membership, pass holders, DVC, Club Run Disney, and so on, But I think, they have the data and the information to make the decision. So that's why I'm on this side and not that side. But yeah, those are the dates. I'll be on April 19th. I got my timer set. So I think things will sell out pretty quickly for that. Maybe we'll do a show after that, after registration.
Yeah, I would actually love to do another show where we just, I mean, what you can talk about, the registration, just kind of break down like this whole year. Because between all, I mean, I ran all the race weekends. You ran 2 of the race weekends. Steve ran 2.
Yeah.
Katie ran them all. I would love to just like go back through and just talk about, some of our highlights from it.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I have really, honestly, mostly positive things from pretty much all the weekends.
Yeah. It was a good year, and it was nice to be back, and I wish I was healthy for this past weekend as well, but it sounds like it went off really well. And I think all things considered, had a lot of fun in what I participated in and liked what I saw. And at the least felt like a parallel product to what it was before, if not in some cases maybe better. So definitely heading in the right direction, liking that they're changing up some of the themes as well. So
yeah, well, I think if we don't have any other questions here, I think we're about ready to wrap it up.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Lake. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys killed it and had a great time. And there'll be some opportunities for us to get together again to do this. And I'm definitely looking forward to getting on the Wish and participating in the Castaway Key challenge. First time for that. Should be a lot of fun. Definitely.
Yeah. If any of y'all are looking at booking that cruise, let us know, because I mean, there's almost enough of us already to like do a meetup now.
There are like 19 of us I with kids. There's 19 people that I know that are going to be on. So it should be a lot of fun. And we might know a travel agent that could help you. I don't know. Christy was here earlier, but Baxter Pixie Dust, she can probably help you out if you'd like to join us. So yeah. I don't think she's going to be joining us though, but
you never know now. There's a lot of us in the crew. I feel like every time like you add people, you're like, oh, and they're going. People are like,
he's going to FOMO
now.
He's going to FOMO and end up on your pull-out couch. He's going to FOMO.
Well, what's funny was we were talking about, we were like, oh, maybe 2023 we'll just like take a year off cruising. And then Steve was like, hey, I'm doing the, we had just gotten off the Magic, which we did the day after Princess. And we were like, oh, we really like the cruise after the, what's it called? The cruise after the race weekend thing. And then like literally like 2 days later, Steve was like, hey, I'm going to do the Wish the day after marathon weekend. And we were like, should we?
Yeah. That's
and
the one.
Now we are. It's official.
That'll be my 40th birthday gift. There you go. Christy looks like she's trying to get a friend to come with. See? How did I know? Christy's not going to let all of us go and have some fun without her. Are you kidding me?
Run Disney meetup.
She'll already have the lay of the land on the Disney Wish, being on it probably 4 or 5 times before January. Don't worry.
That'll be my second already.
That's right. Hopefully my second as well. I definitely am not. No, she's going to know. She's going to know. She's going to be on there at least 3 times before January. But yeah.
Home ship.
Yes, this is a lot of fun. Congratulations again. You had a great season of running, and you stayed healthy. And you guys are crushing it. I'm glad your sisters were able to join. And Katie had some awesome milestones this year as well. And Steve and his wife, Anawake, and Christy had some awesome milestones. Unfortunately, Chris Bright wasn't able to make it down this year for it, but I think he has some plans to do it in the future. So the fam is out there representing.
Yeah, and that's what matters. Like that's been the most fun, was like running races with people, meeting everyone up at the finish line. Grabbing a beer, hanging out. That's really like what it's all about.
Yep, good. It's a good community of folks, and it's gets you motivated to get out there and train. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I do have to give a shout out to I believe it was Dave who came up when we were at I was literally like in the merchandise expo, and he was like, hey, you said to come up and say hi. I was like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I was like, we chatted for a few minutes, talked about races they did, talked about cruising too. Another girl we know, Lindsay, came up and she was like, oh yeah, I watched your cruise videos and then booked our first Disney cruise. I was like,
you get a lot of folks watching your not only your Run Disney footage, but you get a lot of hits on your cruise videos, and they're great. In fact, I remember before our first one that we took during COVID, I think you guys were on very, very early and gave a very comprehensive overview of the processes to get on, and your cruise videos are very good. So check them out. They're a lot of fun to follow along with, and yeah, you just got off one another. I think you just posted some cruise stuff the other day, like last week or something like that. So
Yeah, I still have I have the last day from our Magic cruise that we took at the beginning of March to post, and then the rest of the week will be all springtime videos, getting all that out there. So
Awesome.
look forward to that because we're looking forward to posting that. They're my favorite videos to make are like the Run Disney videos now.
Yeah.
They're just so much fun to like relive the races.
yeah,
But-
you guys, you do a good job. So
Thank you
go check them
kindly.
out. Go check them out. Go check them out.
But that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode of the Run Disney Rundown. As always, you can follow Katie and I and all our adventures over on YouTube at MouseGen, as well as Instagram at mouse.gen. We're also on Facebook and some other places, but subscribe to us on YouTube. That's where we post all the main content. As always, you can find Steve over at the DCL podcast. I believe their Instagram, DCL_podcast. And then you can find Steve E around the porta potties of a Run Disney start.
If you need to use a good porta potty, just find me. I'll be out there. You can't miss me. I'm the weird bearded guy in Corral 3 or 4. I'll help you out. So thanks, Blake.
Finds
Thanks
the
for having
one
me.
that's
I had a lot
well
of-
stocked and clean.
yes, a connoisseur, if you will. I'm just gonna own it now. I'm just appreciating the pseudonym. I like it.
But that's going to do it, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Steve, thanks again for joining us. Thanks again to Steve K for joining us and coming out and making the trip down to run Springtime Surprise. That's going to do it, folks. We will see you next time.
Peace.
And can I find the button? Yeah.